Hello and welcome to Mike's Garage. Let's see, I'm supposed to remember to say that if you haven't subscribed, please do. And when you do, please tap on the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time we get a new video on. Okay, that takes care of all the formalities. I'd like to start by saying it's a little difficult getting things shipped on time. There's a bunch of things that got kind of difficult. It's called life, and I know everyone's going through it right now. Basically, the project bike, the flathead that I'm building, that we're going to build on this channel, is still happening. The front end is still at the frame shop. Bike's over there. Lots of stuff happening there. Trying to get a lot of things put together in one place. It's kind of difficult. I've got things on order, and my goal is to get the chassis built. We get the chassis built, and then we'll go from there. So right now I'm waiting on a few parts, including the front end, but I am ready to put a rear wheel on it, so we'll be doing that soon. We'll get some things going on it as soon as I can. Okay, moving right along, in view of the fact that we couldn't do that, what I've been trying to do is keep the usual bikes going, and it seems like everyone's wearing their tires out at once. So if the girls need new tires, they need new tires. Knucklehead needs a new front tire, and so I got her one. So here we have a new tire on this wheel. Now, I do my own balancing, and balancing is, especially on a front tire, it's very important, it's very critical, it has to be done right. Let's see, I'm going to put it on this balancing stand, and let me explain this balancing stand. You know, a lot of people today go out and buy very expensive, and I do mean expensive, electronic balancing machines, which I think is just great. The only thing is, I shouldn't be criticizing. I don't mean to criticize. Electronic balancing machines will balance it generally, and there may be some better ones out there, but generally down to 1/4 of an ounce. If you go to the races, say at Laguna Seca, where the super bikes are going over 200 miles an hour, and you go into the pits and see what the boys are doing on their bikes, you'll find a balancing stand like this in each one of those. And what they're doing is they're balancing them by hand because they need that accuracy. So now that we have the wheel on the stand, now see, I didn't take the weight off from the last balancing job because didn't know whether or not it was going to need to come off. So we're going to take and turn this tire a little bit and see what it does. And I will explain what this is really doing here. Now, as you see, the wheel is turning, and it's turning. And what will happen is that the very heaviest part will end up at the bottom. This thing looks like it's really already in balance. I want to apologize for that. I didn't balance it yet. Okay, now if it goes backwards, it is. So when the heaviest part's at the bottom, that means the lightest part is at the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to knock this weight off of here and start from scratch. Something I don't like to do. But nowadays we have to use steel weights. We used to use lead weights, but lead is bad for you, bad for the environment, bad for the animals, Therefore, we now use steel weights. So now, I'm going to turn this again and see what it does. Now it's much more pronounced. We'll slow it down a little so it doesn't take a week to balance this thing. And here's a 1/2 ounce weight, and I think a 1/2 ounce will probably do it. Now, it usually takes a little less weight with a 21-inch wheel because it's out there so much further. It's like a lever. So let's see what happens. Okay. It's about to stop. So we go from the bottom up to the top, and there's the spoke. Right there, it's right in the middle. So we're going to take this and we're going to tap it on there and see if that does it. Well, apparently not yet. And it's up at the top. Let's try a full ounce and see what happens. This is an ounce here, and we'll try it. And with an ounce, maybe too much. Yes, it is too much. So what we'd really like to have is a 3/4. Wouldn't that be nice? Let's see if I have one. That's a 3/4. This little brass mallet was one of my dad's toys. I really like it. Okay, so now we'll try a 3/4. I think it was right there. Wait a minute, let's see where it was. I'll see in a second where it was. See, you can slow it down, you just don't want to stop it. And I believe it is this one right here. It's not it, huh? Well, the cameraman says that's not it, so let's see what is. It's that one right there. Now I can make it heavier by taking it out further. Oh, that's great. The reason for the brass mallet is to not tear up any of these pretty parts. Well, we're just about there. Now that's a lot closer. Than just about any machine can do. Let's see how close it is. It's going to be a little off, but not much. Ha! Boy, was I wrong. Sure, I had a couple of quarters in here. That's a half. No, that's too much. I'm sorry, that's about as close as that's going to get. And that's pretty close. Mm-mm-mm. There we go. We moved it out. That's really, really close. You can see it's starting to move a little there. That is very, very close by anyone's standards. Okay, so now that we've got it balanced, I had to hit it with a big nasty hammer. I apologize, but that's the only way it was going to move on that spoke. These steel weights are not as easy to deal with as the old lead ones were. But that's the way it is. So now I'm going to put the wheel on the bike. Which shouldn't be too difficult. Okay, now, if this bike were running a front brake, which it's not, I would have balanced it with the brake drum on the wheel. All of the rotating mass should be balanced. But in view of the fact that there is no front brake, now I like when I do a front wheel, I prefer to do it on the floor. Some guys do, some guys don't. That's the way I like to do it. But here is the axle and the spacer, and we're going to run it right through there. And I'm going to jack it up, raise the jack just a little bit here. Now, can you show, if you would, Mike, how I've got this raised? I've got the jack under the frame here. The kickstand is down on the left side, and I just jack the bike up that way. Back in the old days, out on the road, was really nice if we had one gorilla in the group that could pick up the whole front end of the bike while we changed a tire. Okay. So all I'm doing now is tightening the axle nut. And once I get that tightened, we're actually done. Now I'm going to torque it with a torque wrench, just because I can. I want to be sure that this thing is rolling nicely, which is easy. I'll just take it up a little more here. Oh yeah. Now when I put something up in this manner, I just knocked it out of here. I generally put a rag everywhere there's anything metal that can touch the tank, or even the bungee cord touching the seat, or and all that stuff. I'm sure every bike you do is going to be a little different. Now I'm going to put this nut on here with a torque wrench. And about 60 pounds on it. And there it is. Now the only thing we have left, which I'll have to get some light over here for, is the hole in the axle is too small for a cotter pin, so I put a little safety wire through it. But we're done with it. There it is. The next thing I want to say is I'm hoping to bring more stuff to the table with that, with our project bike. I apologize for not having it, for not showing it at the moment, but it's just been too hard to get stuff. So it'll be coming soon. And until then, I'll see you out on the road.